Hello and welcome to the CenterStage 101 training. My name is Lloyd Wafer, I'm the Education Consultant here at HoverCam, and it's my pleasure to guide you today through the main features and functions of your CenterStage, ensuring that you're able to get the most out of it in your classrooms. So I'm going to be covering, as I mentioned, all of the features and functions. I won't be doing a deep dive into specific educational applications or classroom applications, but I'm available as an ongoing resource here at HoverCam to collaborate with your instructors and find meaningful ways to integrate the technology into the curriculum and lessons that you're already using. So to start, we're going to take a physical tour of your CenterStage screen. As you just saw me interact with, you'll have some interactive buttons here at the front to control your volume and select your different sources. But the most important button on this front panel here is the home button. So as a rule of thumb, I'm going to repeat this probably throughout this presentation. When in doubt, hit that home button, and that will be your main avenue to this screen, which gives you access to the four main factions of the CenterStage itself. On the back of your unit, you'll also find additional HDMI and USB connections. One thing to keep in mind of note for this presentation, I'm connecting to the front of the panel with an HDMI cable. That might not be practical for your classroom. You might prefer to use those back connections. Just make sure that if you're connecting an HDMI connection to the back, if you happen to be connecting your panel to a device that has touch functionality, USB touch functionality, just make sure that you plug it into the same location as the HDMI cable. So here, if I'm plugging into the front with my HDMI cable, if I was also going to use a USB touch cable, I would also plug it into the front. So you need to match that either both in the front or both in the back. You'll also be able to locate to the side of your unit your SD card slot, which is another way to expand the memory in addition to the internal memory that your CenterStage has. So we'll cover that when we talk about accessing and pulling files from external devices. But as an overarching thought to think about and understand your CenterStage, it is an Android-based platform. So it functions essentially like a giant Android tablet. We often say here at HoverCam that your CenterStage is going to be at its best and you're going to get the most of it when it's connected to an external computer, such as a laptop or a desktop computer or even a Chromebook, depending upon the use case. So to start off, I'm going to show you how simple it is to connect an external device, such as a laptop, to your CenterStage. So right now I have my laptop to the side connected with a single HDMI cable. You can plug the HDMI cable into any of your three HDMI ports. I'm plugging into the front port number 3. And as you can see, it'll automatically pull up and mirror your device. Now, you might have to enter your settings on your Windows computer depending upon your display settings. But if you're not noticing the screen being mirrored right away, just hold down your Windows shortcut key and P, and then enter your display settings and select the proper display setting. As you can see right now, this is mirroring my laptop, which is just running a Word file. I'd like to draw your attention to 4 apps that we recommend you download right out of the gate. First and foremost, the Aptoide app. Most of your screens will probably come preloaded with this. If not, you can find it online by doing a simple Google search. You can download it directly from a web browser. Aptoide is an app that will allow you to search and download for other apps, and we recommend that over Google Play simply because this is an Android device. It will lock in one single user if you log in on a Google Play account, and then you will not be able to log out of that user on this device. That is an Android protocol, so you would have to go to an external computer on a browser and log out from there. It adds extra steps and complications. Aptoide is nice and open and easily accessible, so we're going to recommend that you download all of your future apps using Aptoide. Additionally, we recommend that you download Adobe Acrobat so that you can read PDF files that you might pull from flash drives or external storage, as well as PowerPoint and Word, which are also available on the Aptoide store for when you're using when you're using PowerPoints or Word files on your CenterStage to be displayed. However, if you have your device connected, if you have an external device connected such as this, you don't need to actually run through the apps. I'm running Word on my laptop and displaying it full screen on my CenterStage here. Taking a look at what you see when you tap that home button, you can see we have access to our settings here. Taking a quick look at that settings, this is where you're going to go to access and set up your Wi-Fi connection if you're going to be using the Wi-Fi functionality. You can also see that you can take a look at your internal storage distribution here. You'll also be able to configure, change your settings, and date and time. Back on this home screen, you can see you also have interactive buttons to switch between the different sources that you might have connected to your panel. And you also have quick access to a convenient clock tool, which can be used as a stopwatch or just displaying a available timer. Nice and easy whole group display there. And you also have access to a calculator for whole group display calculations. Moving on, right next to that, you have a big icon here for the browser. That's a quick and easy route to start exploring the web right away. You can change the default web browser as well as the default homepage there within the settings itself. And that is pretty intuitive and straightforward. Next to that, you have your applications channel. By tapping that, you will have access to display all of the current applications that you have downloaded. Now, on this panel, since this is our office panel, we have a lot of apps here that we've downloaded for our internal purposes. Yours is going to have a lot fewer, but that collection will grow with time. Preloaded onto here the most essential apps, in addition to settings, clocks, and the other configuration-based apps that I mentioned before. You will find that you have a Chrome browser, as well as a very important application called the ES File Reader. So the ES File Reader, which is this blue icon here, is going to be the main app tool that you use to access files that are stored on either on the internal drive of the CenterStage itself or your external SD or external flash drives. So I want to take you on a quick tour of that ES File Reader. Once you tap that, it looks like this. You will see some tools here to choose between which device you want to access. Right now I don't have any external devices, but if I just grab a flash drive and plug it into the TV USB port here on the front, it will give me, if I can fit it in, it will automatically, as you can see, it just popped up and is reading that flash drive, and then I can scroll through the apps that I have saved there. I'm going to go ahead and open up a PDF file. When you tap that file, it will ask you which program you would like to set as default. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and set the default to that Adobe Acrobat file reader that I mentioned at the top there. You won't have to select that every time. Once you set it to your default, it will launch you right into that PDF directly from the flash drive. I'm going to return to the home screen here. And last but not least, there is this space here that says local MM, local media. Now, this is a channel for accessing other media that is saved locally. However, as I mentioned before, our recommended method for navigating through your files is going to be that ES File Reader. So you can be mindful of that or aware of that, but we recommend you using that ES File Reader for accessing and finding files. Another huge life-saving tool on this panel is going to be your swipe up bar. So at the bottom of your panel, if you make a swiping up gesture, you'll see some tools that will pop up at the bottom here. Mainly the back arrow tool, which will allow you to navigate back within apps as well as within the interface of the CenterStage itself. So this is a huge tool when you're inside an app and you can't find a means within the app to cycle back to previous page that you were on. You can always, even within an app, swipe up and hit that back button to return to that previous screen that you were on. You will find yourself using this back button tool in the swipe up bar very often. As you can see next to that, there's also a route to get to your home screen. That is the same function as the actual mechanical button there at the bottom. So just two different routes to get to your home screen there. Next to that is your task tool. When you tap that, it will actually display all of the current Windows tasks and apps that you have up and running. At the top here, I opened up a few programs that I no longer need running, but I could cycle through them by selecting either of these. I can close these programs, these windows, by either selecting the X out or by doing a simple swipe to the left. So I don't need this clock app anymore, or the settings, or the TV tool, or even the browser. I'll leave that ES File Explorer up for the moment. This is a good way to minimize the amount of tasks that your CenterStage is currently doing, keeping that performance up, and also exiting out of programs that you no longer need. So again, that was the swipe up, and then tapping that taskbar to cycle through your current running tasks. You can also select your input source through this pull-up menu, as well as access your settings, volume, and lighting controls. There is also to the right side of it a button that says S-Shot, which stands for screenshot. When tapped, the screen will condense, take a quick little snapshot there, and it will tell you the location of where that file is saved in your ES file. In your ES file reader is where you can locate that screenshot of any screenshots that you take. That is in your home screen, or actually when you're inside programs and apps or whiteboarding, you can also take snapshots there. Speaking of whiteboarding, I'm going to tap into applications here. Now, the beauty of having an Android-based platform and also giving you the ability to connect external computers is that it's a really open platform, and you can use whichever whiteboarding apps are most comfortable or most practical or useful for your school. However, to get you started, we do preload it with a whiteboarding app called DrawView. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. DrawView has a lot of features, tools, and functions, and I apologize, this menu control is a little small here, but I'm just going to get you the most basics to get you up and running, and then I encourage you to explore all the additional tools, objects, and shapes that can be added within the app. The pencil icon, when tapped, will open up additional options to the right of that icon. I can start doodling right away and sketching, or I can change the tip of my pen. The furthest right options there allow you to adjust either the color by selecting the graphic color, change the color of the page, or the transparency or shape or thickness, I should say, of any pencil that you're saving at the time. So one way to think about this toolbar is when you tap an object to the left, it will open up additional options to the right, and there might be even more additional options, sub-options to the right of that window as well. So for example, when I'm ready to open up a new page, if I do not want to erase my annotations, but I want to keep them going but have a fresh start, there's a page icon with a green plus symbol. That is to add a new page. When I tap that, you'll notice that it changed the settings directly to the right. It's giving me the option to choose here which color I would like that new page to be. And then there are additional options to the right of that. I'm going to go ahead and open up a new green page just for contrast. Put a couple notations there. Once I have one or two or more pages up and running at the same time, I can easily cycle through them by selecting the page icon with the blue arrow. That page icon with the blue arrow will open additional options to the right, and you can see there's the option to cycle forward or cycle back between pages that are already there, as well as deleting pages or zooming in and out of them. A lot of cool clip art and objects that can be added in here that come preloaded. We encourage you to explore those on your own. And we also encourage you to explore and find other whiteboarding apps, as well as other educational apps and programs that might be useful to you. And last but not least, I want to cycle back and make sure that you understand how to pull files from an SD card. Once again, anytime you're locating files that you have saved or stored either on the CenterStage itself or external devices, you're going to access it through your ES File Explorer. Once that's tapped, you can see it actually shows me that it's looking for an SD card that says 0. There are currently no SD cards inserted into this panel. As soon as you insert your SD card, it will pop up there. You can select that and browse through files, and then choose which program you would like to open those files with. And all of your files are going to be located in this ES file reader. So in summation, please remember, when in doubt, tap that home button. Be aware that there is also the pull up tab here to let you cycle back and also access your home page. And keep in mind that your CenterStage, you will get the most performance out of your CenterStage when it is paired with an external computer, which we highly recommend. That will cover most of the features and functions, the ones that you'll need to get running right out of the gate. And beyond that, if you're noticing questions emerging in your usage, please feel free to reach out to me. Our contact information will be pictured on screen, and I can address any additional questions, concerns, or collaboration opportunities that you might have. Again, my name is Lloyd Wafer, and thank you for choosing HoverCam. Goodbye.